I come out here to fish. I'm going to get my shrimp and be gone. Looking at, like I said, with
be gone, demons.
Yeah, looking at, after a stressful couple of days, we finally made it out to San Juan Islands. Got our pot soaking. We have a little bit of company out here, which is always good. Plenty of shrimp to go around. Nice thing about having the shrimp pots in the water is I can go around the cockpit. It's pretty cramped back here. Really nice weather today. We got up at 5 o'clock this morning to get up here. Took us just under 3 hours to get from Everett up here to San Juan Island. They're pretty smooth water most of the way. Came up through Deception Pass. Hit it just after slack, so it was about 2 knots, a little less than 2 knots going through. That's Roach Harbor right over there, and the Nor'wester should be right over around Henry Island over there. We're gonna go swing by and see if Nor'wester's still floating / sunk over there in a bit. But we're gonna get our shrimp first. That looks good. I got the buoy. Yep. Got the buoy. They can get out of the pot. We are limited out. When you pop the heads on them, always use the same hand for the heads, so you always throw the heads in the same place. You don't want to throw the tails away and keep the heads. We're out here, this is off of McCracken Point. Coast Guard, looks like they're anchored out here actually. There's a barge with a crane. Just to the left of that barge, you can see the nose, the bow of the Nor'wester sticking up probably 4 or 5 foot. Then there's a sea tow boat right to the left of it. Another gorgeous day out here in shrimp season. Getting spoiled with weather like this. Usually shrimp season has always been like the first weekend in May, and cloudy, overcast, drizzly, 45, 50 degrees, 2-foot seas. Not yesterday, not today. We did pretty good yesterday. We dropped 2 pots, about 375 feet of water. We let them soak for 60 minutes on the nose, and never go longer than 60 minutes. And I pulled the first pot, and it has 150 something in it. And then we pulled the second pot, and it had like 180 something in it. Total was like 335. So we kept 160, we threw 175 for report. I got the buoy. Stop the boat.
got a couple more right there, baby. Watch your feet.
So we pulled our first pot. It had 131 shrimp in it. So we need 29 more.
Yep.
So we're going to be throwing a bunch overboard is my prediction. I need more friends. Fearless leader of the Washington Shrimp Group. Shrimp ball. Gonna be shrimp skewers tonight. Barbecue shrimp, shrimp scampi, shrimp fettuccine, coconut shrimp. I shake them into a bucket, pour them into the bucket.
They pause and chew you up when you reach your hands in there.
Yeah, I stopped doing that. I just pour them into a bucket or lay them in the cockpit and pick them up. Otherwise you get scratches all on your arm. So right here we're just leaving our fishing spot. Down here shrimping the last 2 days. So yesterday we came out, we dropped 2 pots, we let them soak 60 minutes. I never let them soak more than 60 minutes. I never use my bait that's frozen because it would take too long to thaw. The shrimp are either there or they're not there. If they're not there, I would pick up and move. Yesterday we dropped our 2 pots. We're up at San Island in a little bit deeper water. It was doing about 375 feet. So I had 500 foot of rope. We pulled up, what did we get, 335 shrimp?
Yep.
Yesterday in 2 pots in 60 minutes. So we kept our 160 and we threw the rest overboard. Today it was almost a repeat of yesterday. 2 pots, we only soaked them for 45 minutes today. Same 2 spots we did. And pulled the pots back up in 45 minutes and we had 250 shrimp. Kept our 160, threw the rest overboard. Things to look for is structure on the bottom. You want cliffs and ledges. Shrimp usually is 240 feet is what they say. Up here in Spiden, it's a little bit deeper water. but your pots have to weigh 30 pounds. I'm not kidding. 30 pounds, put them on a scale. My pots, without any weight added, are 10 pounds, and then I add 20 pounds to them to get them to that weight. You need the weight so that they actually hit the bottom. It takes a good couple minutes for that pot to sink to the bottom. And I drop it overboard. I wait until I feel it actually hit the bottom so that I know it's there, so the rope doesn't coil or anything. You don't want to lose a pot. It's really easy to lose a shrimp pot, especially dealing with that much line. On the buoys, you want the buoy set up to be right also. I use 2 LD buoys, or LD2 buoys I should say. Each buoy will float 68 pounds of weight, so that way the 2 buoys together will actually float my whole pot if necessary. And I take the crab pot, not the crab pot, the shrimp pot to the line.
Different season.
The line goes to the first LD2 buoy, and then I hang another line from that LD2 buoy to the second LD2 buoy, and then from that buoy I go to just a little white cheapo, I don't know, like a fender or something small that I could write our boat name channel surfing on. It's an identifier. Everybody's got yellow buoys, they all look the same. I want my pots to look different so I can spot them easily in the crowd. So that's the purpose of the last buoy. Having the buoys connected as such also means they will form a line as the wind and current blows, and that way you can see which way the line is going, so you know how to approach the buoy when you drive the boat up to it. You don't want to drive over the line or try and pull the pot with the rope going under the boat and getting wrapped around the prop and that kind of stuff. Really important on that. Electric pot puller, in my opinion, is definitely required, and even at that, the pot puller I have will do 100 feet a minute, and it's 500 foot of rope, so it takes a while to pull that pot up. Pot puller I've got's rated to 100 pounds as well, and the pot weighs 30 plus the leaded line plus the weight of the shrimp plus the force of the drag. It's working. I did blow a fuse last year. I got it. Basically, we got turned around and ended up trying to pull the pot uphill, and you can't pull a pot uphill. It was stuck on the ground, and we basically anchored the boat, blew the fuse on the pot puller, threw the buoys and everything back over, swapped the fuse out, circled around. So I understand the underground structure is really important to know those valleys and cliffs and stuff, to know where your pot's at. But other than that, it's a really fun fishery. It's awesome to pull up a pot with 150 plus shrimp in it. Last year our high score was 302 in one pot. That was really cool. And then we had another pot last year, was 247 shrimp. This year, so far, we've got, we have 151 in a pot, 184 in a pot, 131 today, and 119 today. And we only have 2 people on board, and they allow you 80 shrimp per person in Washington State. Other than that, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. We also have another video on how to shrimp that I did a while ago. That kind of talks about the gear and stuff like that, what we used. There's different styles of pots. I guess I can talk about them briefly. We don't shrimp. They call them the Ladner pots. It's the big round pots that have 4 tunnels on them that stack really nice. Those pots are really popular because they're easy to carry on a boat, don't take up a lot of space. They also fish a lot slower. I've fished one, I have one in my backyard. Anybody wants it, I'll give it to you, come pick it up, otherwise it's going to the dump. It'll catch shrimp, no question, but it'll catch half as much shrimp as a McKay style ramp shrimp pot will catch. I learned how to shrimp a little bit School of Hard Knocks, a little bit asking other people, how things, work, and because the shrimp fishery is so fast up here, and by fast I mean in Puget Sound, they're going to give you 4 hours. Hood Canal, even this year at Camino, they opened it up Wednesday this year, and it was from 9 to 1. And the problem with a fishery like that is you don't get to pick the tide. So shrimp like no water movements, right? So when I come up to the San Juans, I get the whole day to fish. I sit down and look at the current charts, not the tides. I look at the current, right? And I map out when the current is at less than 1 knot, and I map it out when it's less than a half a knot. and then I use, and based on that time window that the current will stay there for the area that I'm shrimping in, that's when I will be out there, right? This morning we're like half a knot, start at 8:30. We had our pots in the water at 8:30 to hit the beginning of that half knot slack current. It just makes it go quicker. In Puget Sound, they give you 9 to 1. The tide could be running really fast, or it might not be. It's a gamble. So fishing Puget Sound, I almost always would do, I would fish all 4 pots. You know, you're allowed 2 pots per person, no more than 4 per boat. I would fish all 4 there because you don't have a choice in the tide. And then the style of pot you have matters too. You need a pot that's going to fish fast, and those Ladner round pots don't fish fast. The other thing is the bait is really, really important. Without bait, there's no reason that shrimp's going to go into your pot, period, right? So the bait is essentially crucial. I do a mixture of bait. I take those shrimp bait pellets, I put them into a blender, I take that shrimp oil and I blend them until it's like a puree. And then I'll take like some mackerel, either frozen or canned, and I'll mix it in with that, and I'll stuff the bait boxes full. And the bait boxes I use, have lots of holes all over them so that the bait oozes out. When that pot hits the bottom, I want a cloud of attractant. I want that bait moving out of that pot to attract the shrimp into the pot. Without bait, they're not going in. It's that simple. So if the bait box comes up half empty, that's a good sign. That means the bait's working like it's supposed to. When the bait comes back up, if I have to send the pot back over, I would empty the bait barrel. I would refreshen the bait by adding more oil and stuff to it, maybe a little bit more mackerel, and I'd throw it back in the bait box and I'd throw it back overboard again. Bait is very messy, it's very stinky, but the shrimp love it and it works. So I talked about slow release. Some people like to freeze their bait because then it's not as messy on the boat, but then it's got to thaw before it can do its job when it's in the water. I don't freeze my bait. I come out here to fish. I'm going to get my shrimp and be gone. Looking at, like I said, with Puget,
Be gone, demons!
looking at Puget Sound, they're only going to give you 4 hours anyway. You don't have time for your bait to thaw. What if you put your pots in an area that the shrimp aren't, right? You won't find that out for how long do you soak your pots. I will soak my pots if I'm in a new area. I'll look at the current. I'll find the less than 1 knot of current time frame to go there. Less than a half knot's even better. Then I will I'll throw my pot overboard. I'll usually start with 1 or 2 pots, and I'll wait 30 minutes, not a minute more, and I will pull that pot and see what's in it. If it's got a couple dozen shrimp in it, then that's a good spot. Then I'll rebait it, send it back down, and then I'll wait 60 minutes. I never let my pots soak more than 60 minutes. The shrimp can get out of the pots.
They're not like crab.
As we pull the pot up, we watch some of them fall overboard. When the pot comes into the boat, they will fall out of it onto the floor of the cockpit. And I always got to watch them.
Or in the water.
Yeah, or in the water, right? So when you're pulling the pot, you want to make sure there's constant pressure. In other words, don't start and stop that pot puller. Once you start bringing it up, you want that motion to be the same so that it pins the shrimp in the pot and they can't move around. That's really important. This is why hand pulling isn't nearly as effective. We start out the first couple of years shrimping, we hand pulled pots. It builds character, I can tell you. Especially the first time we were out there, we took a Ladner pot, we took a McKay style pot, we threw some pellets in. We didn't blend them or nothing, we didn't know any better. Threw them overboard, we hand pulled pots all day and went home with 2 dozen shrimp, and there were like 5 of us on the boat.
That was like 13 years ago. I think we've changed and learned.
That was exhausting. Yeah, but no, definitely a pot puller I would say is required.
For shrimping. I mean, you can do crab because you're in shallower water, but shrimp you're in 300, 400.
So they say the sweet spot on shrimp's 240 feet. So Puget Sound 240 to 300 foot is fine, and then there all you need is 400 foot of rope. All my shrimp lines are 400 foot, and then I attach an additional 100 foot to do the deeper water. And I always do the 100 foot on the top of it, closest to the buoy, because if I'm fishing 370 feet of water, as soon as the first 100 foot of line comes up, because I'll see where they're connected together. Once that comes up, I know the pot's off the bottom. Right? Then it doesn't matter what the boat does once the pot's off the bottom. This year I also put swivels on the top too, because a lot of times the buoys will the line will get twisted and kinked. A line coiler is really good. All you need is a basket for the line to land in. The line will usually come down, it'll coil one way, then it'll want to flip the other way, then the other way. It doesn't matter, it lays right on top of each other, and that way it's real easy to throw the pot back overboard for, you know, later in the day or the next day, whatever you're fishing. And San Juans is great to go shrimping. Lots of good spots up here to go.
Again, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell for notifications so you get notified when I upload a new video. And until the next video, stay tuned for more channel surfing.